Look at Wanda, ready to rock her big presentation. But first, lunch. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Delicious, celebratory, but is it quick? The Cobb salad. Tender oven-roasted chicken, topped with cheese. Prepared, plated, and served in 6 minutes? Is this for real? Well, of course. Well done, Wanda. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Yes, ma'am. Life is sweet.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, good evening and welcome to Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm so excited you can join me here in the Room to Room Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Caleb Edelblut, getting you ready for the Sunday overnight period, the Saturday overnight period, getting you ready for your Sunday morning and everything the work week entails. So let's get right into this broadcast so you are best prepared for what's in store for us here in North Mississippi. But starting off, wind, go away. We are not a fan of the wind because that is making us feel brutally cold as we go about any outdoor afternoon plans. That is what the story has been today. And unfortunately will continue to be the story as we go about our Sunday. But good news is won't last forever. It will eventually move on out. Just got to get through tomorrow. One more day, that wind will eventually start to shift just a little bit, start coming the other direction, bring some more moisture into our atmosphere. And that's going to make us feel a lot warmer outdoors and could also bring some rain chances for our Tuesday. We'll be covering that later on in the broadcast. But also, we're going to have all things game of the week related towards the end, your fan section of your week, the cheer squad of the week, and also those game of the week highlights coming up at the end of the broadcast. Very excited to share them with you with our Easton Foster, who went out there to get those highlights for you guys. But let's start off with the first 12 as we wrap up our Saturday and get ready for our Sunday. We're starting off very cold, 18 degrees by 11 o'clock, continuing to cool off into the mid-teens by 5 o'clock. So any Sunday morning church commute plans you have, make sure you are layered up because it will be a brutally chilly one as you walk out of the door, especially by 8 o'clock. 16 degrees, finally working into the upper 20s by 11 with those sunny skies above. Now enjoy the sunny skies because that cloud cover will start to shift in for your afternoon hours ahead. But also we're going to see a sunny Monday as well. So that is good news. But before we go into looking across North Mississippi with some live looks, I wanted to share y'all some updates, especially with how eventful this past weekend has been across North Mississippi. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley sent me this update. I wanted to share it with you guys. This was submitted and sent and posted by the Delta Electric Power Association. This was at 7:40 earlier this evening. Conditions have been very difficult for restoration today. Crews continue to move out from the substations to the outlying area, restoring power. Most circuits have multiple crews working on them now. Today we had 475 people working on the system. Our running damage totals are shown below. 593 poles that are damaged and will need to be changed out, 593 spans of wire that will need to be put back up, 519 trees that need to be cut off the line, 79 damaged fiber optic cables. As is mentioned in prior posts, much of this has been repaired. Our outage totals have dropped to 9,000, which is down from the peak of 21,000. If you are still without power, please continue to be prepared to be without service for multiple days. So good news is the restoration is ongoing. It's continuing. Bad news is, we're now at Saturday, so they are working as hard as they can, and I know that we all want to get that power back as quickly as we can, but just wanted to share that update with y'all as they are hard at work right now, giving you their very hardest with bringing that power back. But this is out in Grenada, and I kind of wanted to show the power outage map just so you can kind of see what we're talking about. And this is just a lot more red than green, and that's the unfortunate part. Grenada County is still one of the counties in our area that is being hit the hardest with those power outages and still ongoing issues. So just kind of wanted to give an update, a little map to show y'all a visual as well, just to keep y'all informed. But restoration is still ongoing. And for those that really didn't see much this past weekend and thought there was no ice storm in North Mississippi, well, you were lucky enough to not be in it. We're still experiencing those kind of consequences as that storm blew on through. But thankfully, North Mississippi is working really hard to bring us back on track. So big thank you to all your EPAs out there that are bringing us back, and definitely want to keep reaching out and giving our thanks as we continue into eventually the last bit of the weekend, but the work week ahead. So now let's take some live looks across North Mississippi just to talk about kind of what's ongoing. 21 degrees out there on beautiful MSU campus. feels like 12. So for any college students out and about tonight, I mean, it will be chilly walking to and from the car or any outdoor plans you have. That wind, that is what's making us feel a lot cooler. Only 8 miles per hour, but you can see that difference. That is making that dew point around 9 degrees, showing we are very dry in our atmosphere right now. So not worried about any rain chances overnight or into our Sunday as well. Same thing out here in Pontotoc, kind of seeing a weird kind of green glow. I don't believe any auroras are going on tonight, just some light pollution off in the distance. 19 feels like 10, 7 mile per hour winds coming out of that northwest, so still a 9-degree difference, making us feel frigid outdoors. I mean, that's close to single digits as well, and I'm sure a few of us are already feeling that tonight and will continue to do so overnight as well. Shelby, 19 degrees, feels like 19, but here we go. No wind. That's exactly why you're not feeling any different. So hopefully that wind can keep moving out away, kind of like the first headline, wind, go away. That is why we want to see it out of here, because it won't really have an impact on us and drop our temperatures as we continue into the overnight period. But Mama Justice Mississippi Live weather radar is showing not a lot to track out, and that is a good thing. I know you kind of see these blue specks, but remember, that's still that ground color, although it's not in the normal green color you see. Just with how cold it is, radar would love to think that it's picking up on maybe some snow, but that's just kind of some interference with the pulse going out and about across North Mississippi. We are still staying dry all night long and will continue to do so into our Sunday ahead. But if we want to look for some snow across the country, here you go. Not really in North Mississippi. You can see some out there in Kentucky. I'm trying to push into Tennessee just a little bit, but most of the snow is out there in the Carolinas right now, as the system is kind of just off the East Coast, bringing a lot of snowfall out there. Thankfully, more snow than ice, and we kind of already have seen the destruction and somewhat of that destructive beauty of ice. Thankfully, not really seeing too much of that out there, and we'd like to see more snow than ice across our country. But for us here in North Mississippi, we are staying dry. That high pressure system allowing us to feel a lot cooler and more stable as we continue into the overnight period, bringing in all that polar Arctic air across our area. So that's kind of what's influencing our weather tonight. So Futurecast is going to show exactly that high pressure system all the way out west, out in Texas, not really over us, but still bringing in all that wind and eventually some cloud cover into the overnight period, but still can't really decide whether or not it wants to stay. Already starts moving out by Sunday morning. We're going to see a sunny start to the day. Then that cloud cover comes back. Can't really decide how long it wants to stay. So still going to see pretty much mostly clear skies transitioning to partly cloudy by the time you make it into the afternoon hours tomorrow. We can see that right here on the next 24. We're starting off with mostly clear conditions by 6 o'clock, 13 degrees. That cloud cover already moving on out as we slowly start warming on up. Still below freezing by lunchtime tomorrow, 31 at 12. Warming on up towards the upper 30s by 3 with those partly cloudy conditions. And that's going to continue into the rest of the night before it already moves on out yet again. We're going to cool off, talk about upper 20s during that 10 o'clock broadcast later on tomorrow night. But don't go anywhere. I want to make sure you are updated on everything you need to know for this overnight period, what your Sunday entails, and what the start of the work week looks like, especially as we get closer and closer to another work week here in North Mississippi. All of that's coming up right after this break.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us. Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Caleb Edelblut.
Well, welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I was just checking up on the comments, and it looks like we are all team no snow, no ice, no cold weather. Not a fan of this cold weather either. I hate the cold. I am ready for some 4th of July summer vibes here in North Mississippi, but we still got a ways to go. But let's take a look at those current conditions out here in Tupelo. 19 degrees, feels like 9. I mean, just the feeling of talking about single digits just doesn't sit right with me, especially in Mississippi. Just doesn't feel like it belongs here. But frigid conditions are in store. That northwest wind is what's factoring in that cooler weather, and that's going to be the story as we continue into this overnight period. So make sure you are bundled up and layered up as you go to bed later on tonight. But Futurecast still showing pretty much clear conditions all across North Mississippi as that wind continues to blow into North Mississippi, and with that bringing in some cloud cover as we go about this overnight period, but also not going to be meaningful because we're kind of sleeping through all of that cloud cover and it's already moving on out by the time we reach 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, waking up for our church commute. So definitely going to be a beautiful start to the day, but going to be a chilly one as well. Let's take a look at those low temperatures all across North Mississippi. Pretty much all of us in the teens, even some of us starting off in the single digits, 9 in Holly Springs and South Haven, 8 in Tunica. I think that's the lowest on our graphic here. But let me step over here just so you can pay attention to this. Let's take a look at where Highway 45 is. 14 out there in Starkville, 15 Columbus, 15 Amory, 13 in Tupelo. Now, why I want you to pay attention to that is those are our lows overnight. But let's take a look at how we're going to feel as we walk out of the door tomorrow morning. Nowhere near that. Almost all of us going back down to the single digits. 7 out there in Tupelo, 8 in Amory, 6 in Vernon and Columbus, 7 out there in Starkville, 8 in Louisville. So that is the definition of a frigid, frozen start to the day. Definitely going to feel very cold as you walk out of the door. So want to keep emphasizing that as you start off your Sunday morning, because you're going to want to make sure you have those layers on. And the good news is you'll want to have them on all day. No reason to take them off because it will be cold all day long. Let's take a look at our church planner. 14 degrees by the time you are walking out of the door, feeling a little bit cooler than that. 31 by 12 o'clock, warming on up towards the upper 30s, and then already cooling off, seeing low 30s by 7 o'clock tomorrow. So an overall frigid day all around for your Sunday, but thankfully those better and warmer conditions are so close to North Mississippi. But Futurecast is going to still show those clear skies as we start off our Sunday morning, but that cloud cover will try to build back in just a little bit. We're going to start seeing those mostly clear conditions by lunchtime, transitioning to partly cloudy as that cloud cover continues to build on in just a little bit into those afternoon hours, and it will eventually start moving on out. We can already see that starting to take place. Maybe some rain changes, not quite confident on that. Could maybe see some in DeSoto County and just along the state line, but I think most of that's going to stay in Tennessee. We're going to stay dry pretty much all throughout our Sunday, but those rain chances will eventually come back. It's just not going to be until Tuesday. Now those high temperatures tomorrow, going to be in the low 40s, upper 30s for most of us, but we're going to feel significantly cooler. 40 out here in Amory, Tupelo, Eupora, Louisville, Starkville, New Albany, 37 Holly Springs, 36 Tunica, 37 Clarksdale, but here's the significantly cooler part. Those feels like values, that wind, going to make us just drop in those feels like values. 28 out there in South Haven, Senatobia, 27 in Tunica. I think y'all are the lowest out there on our graphic right now. So y'all are the winners, and whether or not that is a good thing, that is for y'all to interpret. But Starkville sitting pretty around 36. That's not too bad. I think 40 is the winner for being the warmest out there. So definitely going to be a cold day ahead as you continue to wrap up your weekend here in North Mississippi. But that dog walk forecast, I was telling my dog that I would eventually take her for a walk. She has been cooped up in the house for too long, especially with last weekend and us getting busy throughout the work week. If they're willing to go out there in the cold, it will be a beautiful day tomorrow. I'll see if she can right around lunchtime. 14 degrees by 7 o'clock, 28 by lunch. So still going to be really cold for them, and we'll see how long my dog will last walking out there. And then 37 by the 3 o'clock afternoon hour. So still overall cold, but thankfully those beautiful conditions are so close to North Mississippi. Coming back to your Futurecast, this is showing completely dry conditions. There's the rain showers up there in Tennessee, not really showing up. Maybe a small, tiny snow bubble. Doubt that makes it to the surface, but this is 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, and tracking out your overnight period. We're not really looking at much. That cloud cover already moving on out, and that wind change coming out of the south. That is big news for us here in North Mississippi because it's not going to make us feel a lot colder as we go about our Monday. We're starting off with a clear and sunny start, and as we start off from 8 o'clock into the lunchtime period, we're going to stick that way. That wind continuing to move out of the southwest, allowing us to feel pretty much right around those temperatures outdoors as you go about your day, but tracking into your afternoon, evening, overnight period, that was in play. Starting to see some of those thin, wispy clouds, but that wind starting to pick up just a little bit, but coming from the south. And that is huge news, especially with how we're going to feel like outdoors. So let's take a look at that right here. Your highs for Monday, already significantly warmer, mid-50s all across North Mississippi, 55 in Columbus, 53 Amory, 55 Houston and Bruce, 52 Oxford, and 48 out there in Tunica. But here we go with those feels like values. Not bad. I know some of us are kind of feeling a little bit colder, but it's not an overall aspect, and a few of us feeling a little bit cooler, only 2 to 3 degrees, not really like a 10-degree difference. So good news on the horizon, and thankfully it gets even better as we continue into the work week ahead. We can already see that here on the 7-day forecast. We have our highs in the upper 30s tomorrow, warming on up towards the low 50s with sunny skies. So I know it'll be a Monday soon, but honestly, beautiful conditions to be paired along with it. Tries to make it feel just a little bit better. And then those rain chances come back into the forecast Tuesday, around 50%. You can argue 10% for your Wednesday, but we up this percentage just because the models are showing almost all that rainfall is going to occur Tuesday. None's really going to cross into those midnight AM hours. So we're saying dry Wednesday, dipping down just a little bit back into the mid 40s, even into your Thursday as well. But by the time we reach Friday and any of those outdoor plans, they are going to be good to go. Mid 50s for your highs and then low 50s for your Saturday as well with those mostly clear conditions. So beautiful conditions are on the horizon here in North Mississippi. Just got to get through one more day of these cold, windy conditions before we can experience them all together. But before we go, I want to show you all of our game of the week highlights and your fan sections and your cheer squad of the week. Let's take a look first at your, let's go spirit squad. Let's get a little bit hype as we get ready for these highlights. Well, there you go. Shannon High School was your cheer squad of the week, but don't worry, we also have your fan section of the week. I love watching this video because it gets me hype every time. I know they enjoyed getting videoed. Well, there you have it. Houston High School was your fan section of the week, but the real question is, did they have a lot to root for? That's the question. Don't worry, our Ethan Foster has everything you need to know for our game of the week. He's presenting you with these highlights.
Here in Shannon on a freezing cold Saturday after one of the coldest weeks we've experienced in the Magnolia State in a long time, and definitely the coldest week we've had in 2026 so far, we had an exciting matchup between the Shannon Red Raiders playing at home and the Houston Hilltoppers on the road. Now, this game got rescheduled to Saturday because of all the freezing temperatures and ice that we had this week. However, these girls were ready to play nonetheless, even though it is the weekend. Now, you guys know that my pick for this game is the Houston Hilltoppers, of course, but let's see how this game played out and how these two teams matched up. The Red Raiders moved down to 4th in 4A Region 2 after a Morville win Friday night, while Houston was undefeated in district play coming into this game. Now, on the tip-off here, you see Shannon actually gets the ball first, a lot of energy. Mariah Shells on the lay-in, and Shannon had a lot of steam early. Right here with possession, Shannon still Cambry Shannon for Shannon with the ball, spinning in the paint, fighting for two. That's how you put it up off the basket there. Won the tip-off and the basket. Now, Houston on the inbound play. Katie Jones at the wing, thought about the three, but drives inside for two instead. Smart move there by Jones. Houston wouldn't stay down for long. Shannon actually had to get crafty to put pressure on the Hilltoppers here. You see Mariah Shells with the steal there, taking it down the court and scoring off of the turnover. Good defense, setting up for some good offense for the Red Raiders there. Houston also finding ways to answer inside the paint. Right here, Katie Jones at the wing. Took it inside but couldn't get it to go. Jada Isabel with the rebound and the putback. This game was just back and forth all for the first half. But Houston was going to close that gap and actually go up with about 10 seconds left in the first half. They get the ball to Shemaya Pratt for a heat check. She got it. That gave Houston a 6-point lead at halftime, and that was just the beginning. Now, second half right here, Katie Jones took the three ball but missed it, and then Trinity Willis on the inside fought for that rebound, kicked it back out to Jones. This time, she got it to go. Houston's lead up to 11 points midway through the third period. Skipping ahead late in the fourth right here, Houston ran away with the game with a 14-point lead. There you go, Shariah Miles with another three ball, and that lead just kept growing. This was the story of the second half in this game, all Houston. Down 26, Shannon right here late in the fourth period. Marlasia Long, she doesn't care about the score of the game. She's going to steal it, take it down, got her own rebound, and then got it to go. Shannon didn't give up, but the Hilltoppers just had too many answers. They ended the day with a 66-43 win on the road. It may have been cold out here, but in this game, the Houston Hilltoppers remained red hot. After a slow start in the game and a second half of absolute domination, the Hilltoppers remain undefeated in district play. They moved to 6-0 in district play, and they retain the top spot in 4A Region 2 for now. Every game is vital as we approach closer and closer to the end of the regular season and the start of district-wide tournament play. With that being said, we'll have another exciting edition of the Mississippi Live Sports Game of the Week, sponsored by Langston and Lott, coming up next week. And remember, you guys get to decide where we go, who we see, not to mention who will be the next edition of our Cheer Squad of the Week and our Fan Section of the Week as well. It's a fun time. We've only got a few games left this season, and we want you along for the ride. So make sure you nominate your favorite game of the week next week and tell us where we should go, who we should see. Thanks so much again to our sponsors at Langston and Lott for our Mississippi Live Sports Game of the Week. It would not be possible without them, and we're so excited to continue to support our local high school girls and boys basketball teams this year. Now, until next week, stay warm here in Shannon. I'm Ethan Foster for Mississippi Live Sports.
Well, a big thanks to our Ethan Foster for giving us those lovely highlights across North Mississippi, especially out there in Shannon. We appreciate all of those, and I'm looking forward to seeing more as we progress further into the basketball season ahead. Very excited, especially because playoffs quickly approaching. So he made that good point, as all those matchups really do matter. But here's the QR codes to both the iOS and Android app. We appreciate all the support you have given us here at Mississippi Live Weather. We want to make sure we are giving it right back to you guys. We want to make sure any feedback you have for our app, we want to make sure it continues to improve for all of you guys out there, and it is high quality for all of y'all. So we appreciate all the feedback and want to continue improving just as much as you want us to as well. But of course, we'll be live tomorrow at 6 and 10 to give you the very latest for those rain chances Tuesday. I know someone was asking in the comments of, are we having another storm? No, just those rain chances moving on through Tuesday. Could hear a rumble of thunder, but thankfully we are very well away from any ice storms occurring again in North Mississippi. Those are definitely rare, once-in-a-lifetime events, and that is a good thing. But I hope all of y'all have had a perfect Saturday and continue to have one, and I will see y'all back here in the Room to Room Weather Center tomorrow night.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.